Well, the markets are open here on Veterans Day. Yes, the government offices are closed, but the markets are forging ahead anyway. And let's take a look at how we are opening up in the grains. Right now in the corn market in Chicago, we have that December contract trading 2 1/4 lower at 375, kind of following through with that overnight trend that we had on the Globex market. Well, the soybean trade really getting beat up on this morning. We have the January contract 8 1/4 lower at 922 3/4. I was looking just a moment ago. We had the nearby November over 10 lower. Let's take a look at the wheat. How's it opening up? Well, we have Chicago December currently 1.5 lower at 508 3/4. New crop July, well, it's down 2 1/4 cents. On the Kansas City market right now, you have that December contract there hanging on to a small gain of 1/2 cent at 422. And if you go out to July, it's actually 1 1/4 lower. Let's go to the Minneapolis market. It is showing a trade that's about 1/2 cent lower on December. And now let's go to the phone and welcome Dewey Strickler of AgWatch Market Advisors. He is in Franklin, Kentucky. And Dewey, that is not necessarily an impressive open here on the grain markets this morning.
No, I can't say it is, Marlon. When you look at it, the report's out of the way, and it was pretty well a nothing burger for all of the grains here. We did have the USDA lower exports in corn as expected. They didn't touch harvested acres here. Some of the trade thought that they would, so I think they're telling us now that they're probably going to wait until the January report before they give us any revisions, and who knows, it may go a little bit beyond that because we're probably going to be looking at some producers still trying to shell corn here in the month of December here. Other than that, waiting for some developments with the U.S.-China Phase 1 trade deal. Obviously, neither party in a big hurry, so that leaves us with exports and also weather in South America, which there's nothing inflammatory there, so we don't have a lot to go on.
Yeah, a lot of folks were wondering if USDA would actually have the intestinal fortitude to go forward with big changes in the harvested acreage on the corn and soybeans, or for that matter, making big revisions in the production. It didn't appear that they really had the appetite to do either one there. And even if we go to January, a lot of questions may still remain at that point here, Dewey, because more harvest weather being interrupted with that winter storm coming through right now. It's going to be a while in the northern half of the Midwest.
Yeah, it's going to take time for us to know what's really going on there. So we may have something in January. Probably they'll have a partial, but I would say that it'll be up into not latter part of next year, but we'll find out in the first few months of 2020 what we're actually looking at. So going to have to be patient.
Well, it looks like in Brazil, the vast majority of their large producing states there are coming down the home stretch of planting. It looks like Mato Grosso is already about done with their soybean planting. So that's way past the halfway point right now. I guess now it's going to turn into a weather market in South America for a large extent, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And there's no really what you call true hot spots down in South America here right now. Doesn't mean something won't pop up, but right now, for the moment, everything looks to be going okay.
All right, we'll come back in a moment. We will see how the livestock trade is opening up here on a Monday. Lots of questions there, and we'll analyze it when we come back. We're back with you talking with Dewey Strickler, and he is with AgWatch Market Advisors. He is in Franklin, Kentucky. And let's go ahead and open up our livestock trade here, Dewey, shall we, on the live cattle board. Right now, it is quiet. December unchanged. It doesn't get much quieter than that. 119.25. February down 18. We're at 124.85. The deferred's just a little bit higher. And if you look at the feeder cattle market, let's go ahead and open that up for you. Right now on the feeders, you have the nearby November 13 higher at 147.13 and January 28 higher at 146.15. Biggest mover of the bunch is March, and it's only 30 higher at 145.80. So extremely quiet trade to start things out on the cattle. On the hogs, let's examine here. We have the December nearby contract now trading 47 higher at 64.60. And then you have the February down by 1 tick, 3 cents lower. We're at 73.88, and April down 25 cents at 1.08 right now per hundredweight. So narrowly mixed in the lean hog trade as well. So Dewey, your thoughts here on what we're seeing early on here on Veterans Day?
Well, I think the cattle market's being supported here by cash being a couple of bucks higher here last week. The cutout is up here, and I think that as far as the hogs are concerned, they're just more or less waiting for some news come out between the U.S. and China. I do feel that the cattle market's way overbought here, especially into a relationship with hogs here. Matter of fact, you might be looking at a decent spread of buying hogs and selling cattle.
All right, let's take a look at our livestock summary from Friday. And if we examine our cash cattle market activity, in Kansas, we actually had sales that were 112 to 115 on the steers. Looks like the Kansas heifers were bringing 113 to 115. Pretty active movement, over 13,000 head. Nebraska had over 16,000 head on Friday. They were bringing 180 to 181 on a dressed basis. Texas had some steers bringing 114 to 115. Heifers anywhere from 113 to 115. They had about 5,600 head. Iowa moved about 10,000 head on Friday, and it looks like we had the steers bringing 180 to 182. We had some steers also bringing 179, I see, on a small lot. We had heifers 181 to 185. Actually, we had a low, I guess, of 180 to 185. So that was how the market was shaking out last Friday. Generally, though, it was higher than what we had the previous week. Do you think they can continue that or not this week?
I think it's going to be really tough here to keep the trend going in cattle here. Been looking for a top here. We might get the diesel a little bit above the high that we had here a week ago at 120.32. We might nudge just a little bit above it, but I think this thing is getting very long in the tooth.
All right, on the beef cutouts Friday afternoon, according to USDA, we were higher on both counts. We had choice cuts up 83 cents. Selects were up 24 cents. And if you look at the pork side, you had everything higher on the pork side Friday afternoon. We had carcass values 203 higher. The bellies were up 326. The cash market was kind of slow, though, nationwide. It looks like we were down about 39 cents on a carcass basis, 4 cents lower on a live basis Friday afternoon. Dewey, thanks for talking with us. Appreciate it, sir. Dewey Strickler of AgWatch Market Advisors in Franklin, Kentucky. Janet, the markets are open. We are on our way.
All right. Thanks for the insight this morning.
You bet.